All right, what's going on, guys? We got a special guest today. If you guys have been following along, I actually just got back from a retreat out in North Carolina and was introduced to an awesome group of guys. And one of them here, Dr. Mike, we got to chatting a lot and just kind of resonated on how rare it is to find people in the health and wellness space that actually care about proactively healing people and not just running through the same old thing that we see time and time again. So I like instantly was like, I need to have this guy on here and just share a little bit of this wisdom with you guys. So Dr. Mike, super stoked to have you here. Let's just jump in and I think your story with your journey of getting into where you are today is really powerful. So if you want to just give us a quick rundown of your background, and we can dive in.
Yeah, right on, man. Brady, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Pleasure to be here, man. You are the man. I just met this guy a week and a half ago, and I feel like I've known him for a long time. So it's good stuff. So yeah, I am a neurologically based chiropractor, and to most people, when you view or hear about chiropractic, you think back pain, neck pain, a certain condition that you need to have to go there, and that's not at all what it is that we focus on or what we do in our office. We have we have a lot of people develop some significant miracles in our office, and it's the approach that we handle to not only get the brain and nerve system to function optimally and to work at a high level, but also we focus on lifestyle factors, obviously, like exactly what it is that you focus on to try to get the body to be able to try to get our lifestyle out of the way so the body actually can do the healing. Very unique. A lot of docs don't do this type of care, but the people who come to our office, unfortunately, most of the time are broken. Um, they're not only physically broken, they're spiritually broken, they're emotionally broken, which obviously all plays into how you reach your potential from a healing standpoint. And we just we are a place for where people can reach their God-given potential, and by doing it through the processes that we've created, the body is able to really do what it's supposed to do. One of the things I tell practice members all the time, we don't call them patients in our office, we call them practice members, because patient involves that they're sick, and we don't even want to embed that into their mindset, because no one is broken. No matter how much trauma or damage you've suffered physically or emotionally or mentally, you're not a broken individual. You're made in God's image, and for the most part, you're just disconnected, and your body has made really poor adaptations to the stress and trauma you've incurred in your life, and that's why you're just disconnected. I tell people you're just disconnected, and we've got to reconnect you for the source so that your body can actually reach its highest level of potential. So that's kind of what it is that we do, and we'll get in obviously a little bit more depth. But
Yeah.
I did not come from a medical background. I was cared for medically throughout my entire childhood life, autoimmune issues, sickness, and it wasn't until I discovered the power of how the nerve system works and how it can get your body to heal itself. I was chronically sick growing up, sinus infections and bronchial infections and things like that. Once I was put in the right hands, um, my body healed itself on its own, and that's kind of what led me to my calling of. I didn't know it at the time, um, that this is going to be my calling, but I was led into this profession, and it's amazing how God works through the people you meet and the situations that you attract, and the people you interact in your life, and that's kind of where we are at this point in the journey. So as you reflect, and last weekend when we were reflecting about how we got to where we are, pretty cool how you kind of take a bird's eye view on things, and you analyze all the circumstances, situations that you encountered in your life, and how it brings you to where you are now. So pretty cool stuff, man.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare to be able to have such a in tune perspective of that, I think. But when it comes to like, I think the thing that really like when you started talking,
Hmm.
um, it like it's so apparent, like so fast that you've done the work, and you personally wouldn't put anyone through anything you wouldn't do. Um, do you find, like, I've noticed, like, with whether it's personal trainers, a lot of physical therapists, a lot of chiropractors,
Mhm.
kind of give like a bad rap to everyone else because of like the lack of attention, or maybe it's like, hey, here's your printout of your therapy that you're supposed to do. Do you do you find like that people come into you like kind of expecting that level of care based on what they've experienced, and like your methodology and like your philosophy like really like you see the light bulb kind of like go off for them? Like, I'm curious how you're, um the people that you're seeing like on a day-to-day basis, because you're obviously changing them like on a much deeper level.
Mhm.
uh, could you kind of like walk me through like where they are mentally as well as physically, and then kind of like how you strategically implant these little affirmations and these little habits they can pick up to allow them to like grow on a deeper level?
Yeah. Um, First time, most of our practice members that are coming to our office, they come into an office just like if you go to any doctor's office. They're usually symptomatic. They've been through obviously all walks of life. They've been through whatever they've been through to get to where they are. But um, when they become symptomatic, the what people don't understand is that they think that that's the core of their problem, and whatever that symptom may be, right? Whether it's high blood pressure, digestive issues, anxiety, pain-oriented stuff. Uh, Most people that walk in think that that is the core of their issues, and most of them have defined themselves to that. Right? They take hold. Like I hear people say all the time, "Well, it's my thyroid, or it's my Crohn's disease, or it's my migraines, or it's my headaches, or whatever it may be." And they somewhere along the way they've been told, or they've been led to believe that that is what defines them as a person, right? That's who they are, that's what they possess, and that's part of the problem, right? Because
Mm.
when you the book that you recommended, so I've stolen all of Brady's books here. He wrote, he shared all the books and immediately I got on them, and I've already burned through three of them in a week and a half, which is pretty awesome. But in one of the books, Ed Milet's book, he talks about specifically the reticular activating system, which is basically what you constantly put in your conscious and subconscious mind is inevitably what you not only what you attract, but it's what you believe. And your thoughts and your belief systems become they're things, they're true, and they become emotional, and the emotional creates actions, and actions create results, right? So they've been led to believe that they've been hindered or suppressed down to a symptom or a disease or whatever it may be. And if you think about the word disease, really, and you break it down, the definition of the word, ease represents homeostasis or balance, right? And disease is a lack of your body's ability to stay in homeostasis or balance, your lack of your body's innate ability to reach a state of balance, right? And that's why if you look at every disease known to man, it's either an oversecretion or undersecretion of certain functions in the body: high blood pressure, low blood pressure, hyperthyroid, hypothyroid, hyperactive immune system, underactive immune system. The body cannot achieve its own innate level of homeostatic function, and stress has driven, whether it's emotional, physical, chemical, or environmental, or all of them together, stress has driven the brain and central nervous system to respond to its environment in a way to where it cannot achieve its own sense of balance or its own sense of ease. And disease, or a disease process, is the body's inability to maintain that state of balance. And it happens cumulatively over time, which inevitably, in essence, creates a process, right? So when people identify the disease process, it's been habitually your system functioning out of balance cumulatively over time. And a lot of this stuff happens in childhood years. Jordan, our mindset coach, talks about how the subconscious mind is developed between the ages of 5 and 8. Well, you think of the first 20 years of life, all the stressors, the vaccines, the chemicals, the traumas, the emotional traumas that you've been through, and all of those external factors change the way our system learns, keyword learns, how to stay in a homeostatic balance. And it develops and accumulatively develops into a process of your system learning to be out of balance. So it's not like you were genetically born to be sick or ill. It's how the system has learned to program that genetic code to be out of balance and to dysfunction. And that's why the older you get, most people think that we get sicker because we get older. It's not because of just the age that causes us to get older or the genes for that matter. It's because of your body has created neuroplasticity, which is nerve memory, in a way that you've developed rhythm and habit and adaptation to these stressors, and your body continuously lowers its level of function cumulatively over the years of your life, which is inevitably why we reach a threshold where our body can no longer handle the environment that we're processing through the brain and nerve system. And once we reach that threshold and we go over and above it, that's when our body starts giving us warning signs. And that can happen at 5, that could happen at 20, that could happen at 50, right? So the problem is in our society, everything is geared and driven towards treatment of symptoms, which I read something the other day that said, I think it was Pfizer has been in business for over 75 years and they've never cured one person of any disease because that's medication doesn't do that. Right.
Right.
Medication doesn't do that. And neither does supplementation. Supplementation helps because of how depleted our environment is and how depleted our soil is to where our bodies can't get the nutrients we need, which is why we need to supplement. But that doesn't cure you. That doesn't heal you. Neither does food. Food doesn't heal you. It's your nerve system and God that heals you. It's not your food that does it. Your food can hinder healing. Your
Yeah.
food can accelerate healing, right? Just like your lifestyle can accelerate healing or hinder healing, but it's not that's actually doing the healing. The healing is innate. It's inborn. We all possess it, which means we all have this inside gift, this internal gift that we all have for our bodies to reach healing. And healing, by definition, means to reach a state of balance, right? To reach a state of homeostatic balance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
That's awesome. And I think one thing that I see a lot in this space is like the the coach or the practitioner, like whoever it is, like almost wanting to be seen as like, look what I did, like look how I've healed this person, look how I fixed this person or whatever. And I thought when you were speaking, it was really interesting when because you've done a lot, you've had a lot of Dr. Mike showed us like before and after pictures of x-rays and like some pretty profound transformations of people that he's seen. But he's like, they would come and say, wow, like you healed me or whatever. And he's like, no, I didn't heal you. Like, this is what happened. This nerve is connected here. This is what we did. This is what your diet is doing. And he's like, just breaking it down in this very like easy to follow way. And I think that that's really important for people to see that because so many people are conditioned, like you said, at an early age to where if there's a problem, then the only way that they can fix it is if they go and they take this drug or if they go and they see this person. And there's not this it kind of removes it from like seeing that you all you have to do is figure out how to restore that homeostasis in your body. And so I just thought that was like very important because that's kind of like something that I try to explain to people a lot. And so like the way that he talked about it was like, this makes a lot of sense. I'm curious, when you, as you've kind of gone through that, did you find that like a lot of people actually like wanted you to be the one to like heal them and it was kind of an adjustment for them to realize that like they have a lot more power over their health and their life than maybe they thought? Like it seems like you do a lot of work of like really empowering the people that come into your office. So
Mhm.
I'm curious like what techniques that you use to like really have that shift for them of like, oh wow, like I actually have a lot more control over my health and my body, and I'm not a victim to whatever I've been led to believe, like since I was a young, in my early years.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember that what we're trying to do, we're fighting a big uphill battle because number one, going back to the reticular activating system, number one, that they've been led to believe that they're sick, right? And they can't
Right.
heal and they need, and society and the media has taught us that um, we need something from the outside in to heal us, right? That's a big hurdle to overcome. And this is not just them. Like this is generational belief systems, right?
Hmm.
Like their parents over time have told them this is what you need, and this is what I remember when I first got into this. I was run down with an infection, and I was, uh, chiropractic school, very similar to medical school, like where we're taking 9 courses, and they're not easy courses, and I was grinding myself to study for these exams over 9 different classes in a quarter, right? And my diet was not in a great place, and I'm just kind of burning myself out. And I got an infection, and my mother was telling me, "You need to get on an antibiotic." And I said, That's not how I'm going to roll, right? This is not how I'm going to do it because my body can do what it needs to do on its own. Just needs the right raw material to be able to do it, right? So yeah, when people come into our office, we're trying to change generational belief systems. Hard to do, man. Like that's been embedded in their subconscious mind for
Yeah.
generations, not just them, right? So they inevitably they think this is something has to happen from the outside in to get their body to do what it needs to do. And they do think because of the doctor mentality that this doctor is going to do the healing. And to this day, I hear it all the time. Like these guys healed me. You healed me. I need to see you because you healed me. And again, I have a very small part in making the connections and retraining their brain and getting their systems to learn how to heal. But I'm not doing any of the healing. Like that's not my job. My job is to make connections between brain and body so the body can actually link up so the system can actually do its own healing. I tell people all the time, you're not broken because and nothing needs to be fixed. That's another thing is that people will come and say, hey, just fix me.
Hmm.
You're not broken, so nothing needs to be fixed. You're just out of sync and out of balance, and your body will be able to do it on its own. And it's hard for people to believe that, especially in the early stages of care, because if someone has been through 50, 40, 60 years of neural adaptation one way, just like with training, you're not going to see the results immediately. You may see some, but that's why the gyms are over flooded in January and empty by February, man. Like they think it's going to be one workout, they think it's going to be one trainer, they think it's going to be one nutritional program that's going to get them to be fit, and that's not the way it is. It is your habits, it is how far away your system has got from balance that's going to be. And unfortunately, especially nowadays where everything is so quick and fast and quick fix, um, that people expect it to happen quickly. And I have to train them right from the getty up that this is not, you're going to have this nerve system the rest of your life,
Yeah.
right? Just like, and when people say, well, they use excuses even when it comes to things like insurance, like my insurance would cover it. Well, Brady, how many clients of yours use their insurance to pay for their training, right? Zero. You have to look at this. Look, this is the only asset you have,
Mm.
right? You could buy all the fancy phones and cars and boats and anything you want in your life. But at the end of the day, when you're 70 years old and you've lost so much of your health, is any of that stuff really even going to matter? Like, so that's another thing that we have to deal with is self-worth and self-value. It's not that people can't afford it. It's not, and truly there are people out there that cannot afford the care that you offer, the care that I offer, right? The organic foods and supplements and meat and all the things that you need to do to keep your system in balance. But the fact of the matter is most people can, they just prioritize other things and the other things that bring them superficial worldly value rather than innate God-given value, which is the only thing you possess, man. So, um, when people come in to answer your question, it's a hard road of not only retraining their nerve system because there's not, by the way, and just like you, when you go into the gym, sometimes your lifts are going to be horrible,
Yep.
right? And sometimes you're gonna see a loss in strength gain depending on what's going on in your life. Like you get back from a trip that we just went on. I guarantee your workouts on Monday weren't the greatest, right? Because you're depleted, you're run down.
Yep.
So though, but you do it anyway, man.
Sure.
You show up at anyway, right? Because you know that doing this cumulatively time will change you over time. And there's no difference here. There's some visits that patients come in and they feel horrible, right? And they typically will tend to blame other people, especially when it comes to illness. Oh, I
Mm.
was around my 3-year-old. She coughed all over me.
Yeah.
Well, you're coughing all over me. I'm not getting sick, right? So you can't blame the germ because that's not what causes it, right? It's your internal environment that causes you to accept the germ. It's not the germ that causes you to get sick. I adjusted probably over 1,000 people in COVID with no mask, no gloves, no social distancing, and no none of that toxic stuff that people use all the time. The hand sanitizer, right? And I didn't get sick, and it's not because I'm immune, right? It's just because you keep your system in a good position. The body can fight off. You were built with an immune system for a reason, and it's lack of care for that causes you to become susceptible to this type of stuff.
Mm.
So, in a long version, it's really hard to change people from where they were, but it's all about meeting them where they are, and then just you can't stay there, right? You can meet people where they are, but you cannot stay there. You've got to bring them to a different level and elevate their thinking and their emotions and their actions and their habits.
Mm. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we had when you mentioned in your story, throughout COVID, I definitely had a similar experience where I was like, dude, this is what people need. Like, people need human connection. They need to move their bodies. They need to prioritize this. And like, it was definitely what felt like an uphill battle. I took a lot of heat for it. But like hearing people like yourself kind of speak on it, it makes me, it definitely makes me feel like seen for, all right, like I, when you stand for what you believe in, you're gonna get what comes with the territory, but it also brings you closer to like the people that are on that same wavelength. So
Mhm.
um, now I want to kind of shift into as you a lot of the stuff that you've talked about really like what didn't really have a whole lot to do with like actual chiropractic adjustment process. Like you really have talked about things on a big wider scale. There's so many things available to people nowadays with all the nutrition, the different diets, all the biohacking. Um, as you've gotten down this rabbit hole, I'm curious what have been like the biggest needle movers for you when it comes to things like this in the nutrition side, but also in sauna, cold plunge, things of that nature. Because I think people have a hard time, like you said, valuing. It's like what is actually worth my time and money and energy. So from your perspective, I'm curious, like what's really moved the needle for you and your people that you work with um, on this like holistic journey to health.
Yeah. You know, biohacking is obviously a buzzword right now, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Been a buzzword for a while. There's you can go on Instagram and find probably 50 people that will give you biohacking advice, right? And biohacking is all said and good, right? It's all helps, right? Cold plunging, saunas are all good stuff. I mean, again, if you break things down to each individual therapy that you're going to use, um, these are things that will inevitably help bring your body back into a state of balance. They will support your nervous system's ability to function. But the one thing we talk about in our office, first and foremost, before we do any of that, is look, you need to understand that all of these biohacks and all these different protocols that are out there right now are great, but you have to have some fundamental um, foundations in place before you can go there, right? I know so many people that will talk to me all day long about the sauna and the cold plunge and the red light therapy,
Yep.
and they're missing visits in my office. I'm like, Bub, you're getting the wrong message here, man. Like you have to establish neurological adaptation to be able to have experience any of this stuff. Now, those stuff, don't get me wrong, they may temporarily make you feel better or feel better cumulatively over time, right? Because all those things that you talked about, they add value. There's no doubt that all these things have value to them, but you have to have when it comes down to it, the difference between someone who stays healthy and someone who stays sick isn't whether or not they're doing red light therapy every day. The difference that comes down to it is how their nervous system can adapt to all of that, right? And you could eat the best, you can sauna all day long, you can cold plunge all day long, but if your nervous system is dysfunctional, none of that is going to matter. It's just not going to matter. So you have to find a neurologically based, corrective based chiropractor who's on point foundationally to be able to help restore the function to your nervous system so your system can get to a higher level of adaptation, right? Because again, when we're talking about health and and function, the bottom line is really what it comes down to is your adaptability matters the most. How you're adapting and your brain is processing its environment is by far the most important thing that you can do to regain function and healing within the body. Without that, nothing else matters. So you have to have that as a foundation first. But all these other things, you think about it, if we take it one by one, um, sauna, very good, right? Accelerates and helps the body into detox. But again, if the nerve system doesn't work, it can't detox no matter what it is. If you're
Mm.
taking supplementation, right? Supplements are going to be great, but if you have a damaged nerve system and a damaged gut, you're not going to absorb any of those nutrients, right? So these are things, even when it comes to working out, like you can work out and um, strengthen your musculoskeletal system. However, if your neurological system's out of balance, what are you doing? You're strengthening an imbalance, right?
Mm.
You're strengthening weakness over time. You may look physically fit from the outside, and that's another thing. I see people who look amazing from the outside in, and inside I look at their spine and nerve system, and it's a disaster. It's like,
Yep.
man, you are on the wrong page, man. We got to align you with everything. So we talk about all the things you're talking about in our office, but we don't go through any of those things from the external before we address the internal ability for the body to adapt first. That's got to be first. And sometimes, someone who's had a process of, and just to give you an understanding of how your body gets to be dysfunctional, everything that your brain's ever had to process has created a learned adaptation to it. And whether that's chemical, by the nutrition you've been eating for all your life, the vaccines you've developed, the traumas you've incurred, the emotional damage that you have in your subconscious mind from your childhood or traumas that you experienced in life, all that stuff stores itself right here, right in that brain, and it filters through the nerve system. So you cannot have one without the other, right? Because it's mind body, it's all connected. And that also, Jordan talked to us last week about the spirit being the top, right? You've got to have those three pillars in line for anything else to work, right? But as far as what's moving the needle, um, I would tell you the biggest thing that moves the needle, in addition to people getting care, the second thing I would work with people on as we're starting to get their nerve system healthy and rewiring the brain body connection and creating new nerve habits, if you will, is to what they put in, is their
Mm.
food, right? Um, You'd be amazed. And I'm sure, you live in California and I live in Indiana. And I'll tell you right now, I know that people in California have a higher level of nutritional maybe awareness because the stuff usually happens on the coast and then the Midwest typically gets it last. But um, I see more and more farms around my area serving grass-fed, grass-finished meat. Raising their stuff in pasture forms, not giving their food antibiotics. Most of the stuff, I think I read a stat, and this was about 4 or 5 years ago, but it probably rings true today that most conventional meat, 95% of the antibiotics you'll ever incur in your life is embedded in your food.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you got to change if you're going to talk about one thing that's going to move the needle in addition to getting care, your food's going to move the needle. Yeah, because most of the stuff we put in our body creates an inflammatory response, and
Right.
inflammation creates pain. I mean, when you get pain or limitation or rigidity or immobility, that's all a result of inflammation, which is a result of what you're putting in on a day in day out basis, right? I had a guy who had two knee issues, and he had tears in both his knees, meniscus and collateral ligament damage in both his knees. He was an athlete when he was younger, and we're working on him. We're getting him back into balance. And he's like, "Man, I'm still in crisis and pain every single day." And I had him write me up a food log, and the dude ate sugar from the get go, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day.
Mm.
I'm like, do you know what that's doing to your system? Like that's creating a ton of inflammation. It was sugar and seed oils and all this other stuff that creates inflammation. And we eliminated that within 30 days. He had no more discomfort in his knees. And I'm like, look, see, it's not like, again, he was, oh, you healed me.
Yeah.
No, dude, you eliminated what was preventing or blocking your potential to heal yourself. Right. So
Mm.
I think that in addition to getting the right neurologically based care, the food is one of the biggest needles. Like all the other biohacking stuff helps, but if your food's in the toilet and your nutrition's off point, what's that going to do? Right? You may feel better for a day,
Mm.
but you're right back to the same pattern, the same habit, and the same balance Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? So you
Yeah.
got to change. You got to change your nutritional awareness and your foundation. I would say, in addition to what we just talked about.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like those are the people that will say they can't afford the care or they can't afford the higher price food, but then they're door dashing food every day and they're trying to buy a sauna for their house, and it's like, hold up,
The boat. You're missing the boat, man. Like you got to start with the basics first. I have
Mhm.
some people that tell me, and I'm not going to mention names, but this one lady who comes into our office, and she's like, I can only afford to come in once a month. And I'm like, well, that's not going to do much for you. That's like going to the gym once a month. That's not going to do anything for you, right? Um, she's like, but she's spending $1,000 in supplements. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're missing it, sister. You're
Yeah.
missing it. But again, we've been trained over our lifespans that we get healthier by what we put in, right? What we put into the body to make it better. So that's why I tell people, like, before you start getting into biohacks, like go to the foundations first. And the
Mm.
foundational pillars that we talking about our office, like what you were talking about, we start with central nerve system, mindset, number two, right? You'd be amazed how mindset affects your ability to heal, right? And a lot of that mindset was developed from your mothers and fathers and teachers and all the people you were raised in, um, to be less than who you are. So you got to get that down too. And then we talk about nutrition. We talk about exercise and oxygenating the body, which is your specialty. And then we talk about detox, right? Eliminating toxins on our daily life, the soaps and shampoos and the deodorants you use and the colognes you use and the stuff you rub on your skin. Like, again, I know people who are from the outside look amazing and they rub this stuff on their skin and they don't realize that's the largest organ in your body and you're putting that directly into your system, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think so with that process, um and like I like how you mentioned that. It's like, yeah, going and getting worked on once a month is like going to the gym once. It's like it's not about the actual hour that you're getting worked on. It's about building yourself into the person that has the habits that are lowering your inflammation, that are improving your mindset, that are actually putting attention to where you need to focus on if you want to see that change. Do you see like how long do you see that process taking people to start to like not just trust you, but like start to trust themselves of like, okay, I'm not just like going to get fixed. I'm like going because showing up is the habit of a healthy person.
Mhm.
Like going and getting and spending a little bit more money on my food to make sure that my inflammation levels are lower is the habit of what a healthy person would do.
Right.
Like, do you see that as like a couple months where that shift happens, or is it kind of just dependent on the person?
Again, I think that it really depends on what that person is dealing with for the most part. Like some
Mm.
people, the best practice member that comes to my office already is the person who already has all the other foundations in place.
Mm.
They got good mindset habits. They've got nutritional habits down. They're exercising and moving their body every day. They've eliminated toxicity in their diet and other forms. And the only missing piece they're missing is the neurological piece. Those are the people who see the fastest results, because they already have the other four kind of pillars surrounded, right? They've already made those habits. But for people who come in who are obese or overweight, and you can tell, they could tell me all day long that they eat well, but I mean, simple, you could look at them and know that that's not the case, right? So again, my always my first bit of advice to patients that walk into my office, practice members that come into my office, said, look, this is going to be hard for you to hear, but and I think this would be great for you to tell your clients as well. Eliminate all expectations. There's no doubt that you can set goals and set parameters and set objective measuring tools to be able to measure how you're progressing. But the day to day, you can't focus off the day to day, right? Because if you get sick or you feel horrible, you may talk yourself in and out of doing the habits that are going to create, and that's how people eventually fail, right?
Mhm.
I think that, and you know this in your business, that people fail because they expect things without realistic timelines, and it's not in your time, right? It's in God's time, and that may be a year, that may be 2 years, that may be 6 months. But here's the thing: if you put in the work and you stay consistent to your habits and to evolving into this frame of lifestyle where you're building up these pillars of foundations, in a year you're going to be different person. In 5 years you'll be unrecognizable, right? You'll be a completely different human being, because 90 to, the old, i don't I don't know if you're too young for this, but there used to be a workout program. There's several workout programs that were on DVD. I don't know if you know what that is, Brady, but those are, used to put those into
I know.
CD and tapes. But like P90X was a perfect
Yeah.
example. I'm sure you know Tony Horton, and right, but
Yeah.
everything was scheduled around the 90-day mark. Well, you look um, at the cellular level. That's how long it takes a cell to kind of break down, repair, and develop and generate new cells. So if
Mhm.
you want to know how people get sick over time, they do the same thing. They live the same way, cumulatively over time, and every 90 days, they're getting a replica of that same cellular breakdown, and it's only getting worse and worse and worse over time. So if you can reverse engineer that and realize that, look, if you put in the work and benchmark yourself at 90-day marks, you may not be where you want to be in 90 days, but you're definitely not where you were 90 days ago, right? And then you just build on the next. So I tell people, like, when it comes to habits, you don't need to change everything right now, right? Change one thing, do it for 90 days, and then change the next thing. Don't abandon the one you already developed, but just add on. And if you're continuing to add on every 90 days of a new habit over and over again, you're a different human being. I mean, 5 years, man, you've completely transformed and changed your life. And 5 years may seem like a long time. How fast has 5 years gone on? COVID was 5 years ago, man. Like
Yeah.
in 3 weeks, right? Or a month. We're in end of January. In a month, COVID hit 5 years ago. 5 years ago. How fast did that go? Right. So, but that's how we lose time. We base everything off of what we experience day to day, and if we don't get the results we want to see in a day to day, we abandon it because we think it's not working.
Mhm.
Right? This isn't working, which is false. It is working.
Yeah.
You're a different person you were a month ago, right? And if you're working on something different, you're going to be a different person you were in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days. So,
Yeah.
I think that's where people kind of fall short, is that their expectations are um, not where they are. And I'm not one of these people who tell you not to set goals. Like, I think goals are really important because they keep you on point and on focus. And I think you should obviously review that stuff every day, but you don't need to take stock every day of whether or not you hit them yet. Because I always tell patients this is a great little way to think about this. If I'm flying from here to you, if I'm flying from Indianapolis to Orange County, right? And I get to St. Louis and I'm not there yet. I don't freak out and be like, dude, we're not going the right way, man. Like, I'm abandoning jumping ship because we're not there yet. We're just not there yet, right? You're on the path. You're just not there yet. So take it easy. Give yourself some slack, you know?
Mm, I love it. Yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
I I heard this quote, and I think it applies to like what we both do. But it was essentially like the gym is the most fair and honest place that you can go,
Mhm.
because in life, yeah, there might be certain opportunities that pop up for you where you get a lucky break. In the gym, you get exactly what you put in. You
Mhm.
get back, and people put in 40% and they expect to get 100% out. When they're
Mhm.
missing sessions, they're not following the protocols, and they expect that result, that change, that day to day change. And it's like, oh, by the way, of that 40% that you put in, every time you slack off on your diet, every time that you don't take care of your body and you don't recover, that's coming out of that 40%. And it's I thought it was really interesting because it's like, and 100% just means 100% of what you have that day.
Right.
And You don't have it all every day. Most
No.
days you don't. There's very rare times, and I tell my clients this all the time. Like those days you come in and you feel amazing and you have like a really good workout, you hit a PR. Those are not the days you think they are, but those are not the days that actually really move the needle. It's the ones when you showed up when you really didn't feel like it. It's the
Mhm.
ones that you showed up when you, if you didn't have to come and see me, you wouldn't have came. You wouldn't have showed up. Like that's what you pay for. That's the value, is that you are showing up. And whether it's with more of a chiropractic care, which your uh, philosophy is so much more proactive,
Mhm.
that it's almost the same concepts as training. It's like we put in this work and this time now, and you're going to get all that time back. And like you said, 5 years is quick. Like 5 years goes by quick, and now you have the rest of your life to enjoy the progress and the new mindset and the energy that you have to share with the people that you love and to do the things that you're here to do. So I think it's really cool. But
It's amazing how people will they'll have an auto debit when it comes to their retirement, like their retirement account financially.
yeah.
Mm. But I mean, if you don't know the stat that most of the people that save money for retirement, guess what they say when they retire? Guess what they're spending all their money on? They're spending all their money on sick care,
Mm,
right? They're not spending their money on health care. So the fact of the matter is, you got to change your mindset and realize that look, everything you do, just like you just said, has a compounding effect. When you hit that PR in the gym, it's not that one day that you showed up that you hit that PR, right? It's all the cumulative days that you put in prior to that allows you to hit that PR. Even the days that you came in sucking,
yep.
right? Like that's how you build it. And in my business, that's exactly the same. People will say things like, "That one adjustment that doc gave, man, that changed me forever." No, it's the 75 you had prior to that changed you, that built on that pattern, and that one adjustment put you over the edge. Just like in the reverse, when people get sick or they get disease, it's not, they try to trace it back to, I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened. It wasn't what you did. It's everything that you built
Mm,
to cause that. And that one stressor that hit your system that day, whether it be a fall down the stairs or bending down to pick up a pen. Like I have people come in that I've been down to pick up a pen, I can't even get up. I say to them, "Have you ever lift weights before?" Yeah. You're telling me that a pen had a big enough impact on you to cause your low back to go out or you to have chronic sciatica? No. It's the years of damage that you've accumulated.
mm,
And that one bent over to pick up a pen was the catalyst that kind of threw your system out of balance. And that's the same analogy with your PRs. When you see your clients hit PRs, man, it's a build over time to hit PRs. I'm 52 years old and I've been working out with my trainer for 7.5 years. And last year I hit 315 on the bench for the first time in my life. I mean, I played football in high school, never benched that much. And I hit 315 on the bench. And when I went did a workshop and this guy came up to me and after he's like, dude, what did you do to hit 315 on the bench? He's like, you're 52 years old. You're older than I am. I can't bench that much. I go, dude, I've been working out with this guy 3 times a week for 7.5 years. I didn't start there, right? The 315 was accumulation of all those years of me putting in the work. Like you got to put in the work. Life is not easy, man. And the hard easy analogy is always the best analogy. Most people want it easy, hard. They want to take the easy route, but then it becomes hard at the end. Think about the people who do nothing with their health.
mm.
And then the last 15, 20 years of their life, it's super hard. So I got to tell you, one quote that I heard from a mentor of mine a long time ago used to say, you're either in the pain or you're in the pain. And what he meant by that is that you're either in the pain of changing and growing your system and making yourself stronger, or you're in the pain of dealing with not doing that stuff. And either way, it's going to hurt. And I hate to tell you, you take the hard, easy route or the easy, hard route, it hurts a lot more, costs a lot more, way
Mm.
much more expensive in time and money and your life and the quality of your life. So put the hard work in now. It comes easier at the end when you go hard, easy, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. That's so true, though. I mean, how many people are saving their money to go ahead and spend it all on fix it on all the things to make up for the lack of care that they gave themselves. It's it's so backwards, but it's so normalized, which is
And
crazy,
that's the
you know?
problem, right? Like you talk about society and how it's
Yeah.
normalized us, right? And that's why things like, and again, nothing wrong with biohacking and all these other things, but where are your foundations, right? Where are your foundations? And I'm not going to say that you investing in a sauna isn't going to last for a long period of time, but I know a lot of people that have saunas that never get in there.
Yeah.
They got in there for the first month. And then,
Hmm.
so it's never the tool. It's always how you use the tool that's the issue, right? Even with chiropractic, it's never the act of getting adjusted. It's your belief systems behind why you're getting adjusted, right? And how that look, if this is the only nerve system you're getting, how and you got to process through stress 365 for the remainder of your life. How do you want that system to respond when you're 75?
Mm.
Most people don't think about that stuff, right? It's about what right now, man. Help me right now. Well, you got to realize that right now was a byproduct of everything you've had before you got to right now. And if you want to get where you want to be, you have to develop a different mindset. This is not a treatment. This is not a therapy. This is a process and a lifestyle of rebuilding strength and pattern to your system so it learns how to stay in balance. That's the key. And if you want to know how I teach people, that's how I teach people. So I'm more a mindset coach than I am anything else, right?
Mm.
Because you have to, I think the best docs in the country, whatever doc you're talking about, you can talk about a surgeon. A surgeon can go in and cut open someone, but if a surgeon prefaces all that with a mindset of fear and anxiety, guess what? Your patients are going to resonate with that, and they have no prayer when you fill them full of that. So when you fill it full of hope and love and restoration, and know that look, God is the only one that made you, and God's the only one that's going to heal you, and all you got to do is align with the principles, align with the temple, and your body will do exactly what it's supposed to do. But when you surround their mindset with fear and hope and anxiety and worry and guilt and doubt, um, the patient, the client has no prayer. You know,
Wow.
so
Yeah. And that's why I told, I mean, I like literally right after your talk, I'm like, the way that you speak about this is I wish it wasn't so hard to find, but like with my what I witnessed with my dad and the things that I saw, like it became so clear to me of what was happening and how much fear was getting put into him and how hard it is to reverse that. That it's like we need this message needs to be put out more and more. And we inherently know it, like we're all created, like we're here for a reason and we're here to be spreading love and to be like on this pursuit, and somewhere along the way something gets, there's something that gets shifted, and that fear and that panic and the victim mentality can get kind of pushed at you. But kind of going into our retreat, it's like the people that you surround yourself with, your inner circle, the message that you're getting relayed on a consistent basis is going to be the way that you can battle that. And so I was curious because I do a lot of similar things. Like you said, I'm actually a lot more of a mindset coach than anything, because at the end of the day, you got, that's the foundation. Like that has to be strong. Um, I loved hearing everyone's perspective on the retreat. Just people at that caliber, speaking on family, speaking on becoming a better man, speaking on a lot of things that you're not able to talk about very often.
mm,
I was curious for you, kind of what that meant for you. What were some of the things that resonated, just being able to be in that room, and how much value you have on your inner circle and the people that you allow in close vicinity with you as you continue to like push yourself to your purpose and your true north.
I'll tell you, man. Being around, and again, I think I told you guys this the morning that I was supposed to travel to Duke. Um, was going through a transition in business where I was run down. I let my immunity, taking responsibility for my sickness. Right, I suppressed my immune system enough over the past month to where I was expressing detoxification symptoms. Right, I wasn't sick. My body was detoxing to reach balance. Most
Yep.
people view that as being sick, but my body was going through a detoxification process, and I felt horrible. And I even talked to my wife. I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do this. And I said to myself, no, man, like if anything, I'm going not for me, but I'm going for these guys. Like every single one of us in that room needed to be there, right? Um, God finds a way to put people in the right area that you're in, right? And every single one of us, I learned and benefited from every single one of your stories. Your story impacted me tremendously. When I was watching that video that you sent me of your story in the hotel room that night, and that was impactful, man. Like really changed me. But the one thing this, and I think I told you guys this in the group, this is the first mindset group I've ever been a part of where they're not of like mind when it comes to profession. Like I usually, and I was talking to Jordan this morning, and I told him that I've had 10 coaches in my professional career, and you're the first one that number one focuses on spirituality at the core essence. That's number one. So that attracted to me, and then number two, you're the first group of people that are not chiropractors. Like most of the guys that I've been in network with and mindset with have been chiropractors. So that was a big kind of step outside my comfort zone, and I like I said, I walked away with relationships from that. Just I mean, we spent 2 3 days together, man, and I felt like number one, I know you guys forever, and like a lot of vulnerability spoke in that room. Um, you know, a lot of truth and sharing with guys that we've never really even met before. I wasn't at the Purdue retreat when I met you, and I'm sure you weren't either because you live in California. But
I was not there.
um, but it, you know, I felt instant connection with the guys, and I think that from a lesson standpoint, one of the biggest things that you also need to do for your mind is you need to surround yourself with like-minded people because and again, another book I'm reading right now said, you know, if you hang around with five degenerates, you're the sixth, right? If you hang around with four strength-based guys, you're the fifth, right? You are the guy, you are the person that you are consistently around the five or six people you hang around, and being around you guys, it's going to be a banner of a year. I'll tell you that right now, because I know it will be just because of the people that I'm choosing to surround myself with, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you know, I like letting you guys share that because I know I went through it personally and I see it a lot. Is like, especially as men, you have this like weird feeling like you need to go like lone wolf. You need to just shut down. I need to grind. I need to like block everything out. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. Like when you're able to express yourself and bounce ideas off and be open, be vulnerable, like the answers come to you. The problems, they start to solve themselves. And that was again, I'll kind of shift into the book topic was one of the books that I mentioned, the Outwitting the Devil. And it's really interesting how he's getting the feedback from the devil of what would you do if you wanted to infiltrate the minds of these young men? What would you do? And he literally says, I would isolate them. I would make them separate from the people they needed to be around. And you see how we have these thoughts. And when the victimhood comes in, when the scarcity mindset comes in, what do? You block everything out. And it's like you're only digging yourself into that hole. So to be able to see your guys' value and like your story and you know being in a room where yeah I'm sure you've been in a ton of uh mindset groups and business groups and things like that, networking, but to like get out of your comfort zone and do that, it really like speaks volumes. And it's you see how the shift starts to happen. It's like don't really feel like you did anything crazy, but just by making that step and getting uncomfortable. And I love to make that conversation loud because there's a lot of people that don't necessarily have the confidence yet to make that jump. So
Mm.
just by seeing what happens and learning from other people's stories, it can make that more accessible, I think, for more people. So
Yeah,
I,
man. The growth and the uncomfortability component is huge. That's huge. And that's my next book, by the way. That's my, and again, Brady, I'm telling you, 3 books in a week and a half. That has never happened in my life at all. That Outwitting the Devil is my next one. I'm fired up to read that one too.
let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shared my that was the thing I shared with the guys was I was not a good reader. I was very in school if and I think we had a lot of similarities actually in our stories, but like in school, if people were telling me I had to do certain things and I knew I'm a very logical person, this is not where I'm going. I had a really hard time buying into things
Mm.
because I was like, I want to do what I'm here to do. And so that kind of pushed me away from reading. And this last year, that was something I was like, you know what? I'm done with that mindset. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to read 25 books. And I did that and I shared them. I'm curious. I share the way of the superior man with most of my clients that work with me on a close level
Mm.
because I think as men, we want to improve our mindset. We want to get stronger. We want to be more masculine. Like we want to be that leader. Um, and that book really like addresses it in a much different way. And being able to, you think about what your quality of life is going to be your relationships with the
Mm.
people closest to you. So your spouse, your close friends, the people that you work with. So how can you improve your ability to navigate these relationships? Um, I'm curious from you, like as someone who maybe it was like the first style of book like that. What were some of the biggest takeaways that you had from reading that?
I got a lot, all of it highlighted here, man.
Yeah.
You can go for like hours, right? So, you know, it just some of these titles from some of these chapters are not long, but some of these titles like enjoying your friend's criticism, like I'm like, man, I mean, the guy was just hitting me. Don't use your family as an excuse. Like it was just, you're right. It was just a completely different perspective on how to look at yourself as a man. And a lot of the stuff he was talking about in there, gut punch, man, gut
Mm,
punch stuff, right? Like I was, whoa, yeah, that's the way it is. One of the things he said in here, stop. One of the things, and it's the first chapter, is stop hoping for a completion of anything in life. That you're never ever going to complete anything that you want to do. That your goal is to consistently just focus on the next, right, and what you're doing. Um, One of the things he said in here was, "It's never going to be over, so stop waiting for the good stuff." You know, um, there's going to be as of now spend a minimum of 1 hour a day doing whatever you are wanting to do until your finances are more secure, or the children leave grown and left home, or you finish your obligations, or you feel free to do what you really want to do. Don't wait any longer. And the funny thing is that I used to say that all the time, and I know you don't have kids, but eventually you will. I used to always say to myself, "Man, when the kids are in like when they were younger, when the kids are in middle school, their sports will get better." And then it was when my kids are in high school, it'll be really awesome to watch. And now my kids are in college, and I can't wait to watch my kid play ball in college. Like there's always this mindset of,
mhm,
when it's going to be. And he talks a lot about the present moment and just being the man you need to be in the present moment, which is, but it's really good when you're reading this stuff over and over again, you're highlighting it. And you made the recommendation, which is a great recommendation, which is reading the book and listening to the audiobook at the same time. I tried that with the Ed Milet book, and man, hearing him speak while you're reading, that's crazy, man.
mhm.
I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
was a
that's why you read like 3 books in a week because it keeps you going. You retain 200% more
yeah.
and you stay on track. Like if you start to zone out, you're like, it's still going. You're like, oh, yep, keep
Get
going.
back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reading, the listening, and the highlighting
Yeah.
changed the way I'm going to read books forever. Like it's crazy.
Well, you're going at it like that. And I think I mentioned that in my presentation was like, I go about it like I'm extracting information that I'm retaining. Like I'm not just trying to complete a chapter. I like have the pen or the highlighter open. I don't even put the cap on it because I'm like, what am I finding? And when you do that, you're like, your brain is so dialed in. It's like when you're listening to someone. Like when
Right.
I'm listening to you talk, I'm listening to you taking in everything. And most people are just waiting for their turn to talk. So they're
Right.
not really listening.
Right.
And that's the same thing with reading. So it's like that shift is how you can now go into your day and be able to like shed some of that knowledge, probably subconsciously,
Right.
into what they're talking about because of the way that you choose to live with intention. And that's the difference of people that are living below what they're capable, the impact that they're capable of making. and the subtle changes in your day that you do to actually like shed so much more light on the people that you surround yourself with. So
Yeah, and
that's
that, you changing. I mean, you're a life changer, and you're changing people's lives every day, and that's why you. I mean, you talk about the reading the book. Like I made the goal of reading 12 books a year. Dude, I'm going to surpass that goal within 4 months, right? So that goal has already been shattered. But again, it's like you said, it's not to complete something. I'm not reading this book to get it read, right? To say I read it. Um, and when you are in a business where you're dealing with people, which really, in essence, I don't care what job you're dealing with influencing people on some level, right? Even if you're a street sweeper, you're gonna influence someone on some level, right? So if you are consistently making a priority to better yourself by implementing these habits, you have now more influence over people than you think.
mm,
Um, and people ask what I do. I'm in the business to change people's lives, right? So are you, and you can't be that conduit if you are not committing to the process that you're basically telling them to commit to.
sure.
You can't be contradicted because that leads to destruction every time. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the path we don't want to go down. So,
right.
all
Good
right.
stuff.
Well, we hit an hour, so that's pretty solid.
Solid rating.
We might need a part two or for some of your case studies, some of your stories, but um,
Anytime. I'd be
thank
glad
you
to share.
so much.
Awesome.
I really appreciate you being here. Again, everyone listening, like this man has done the work and really leads by example. And I'll tell you, like I wish it wasn't that way, but it is rare to find people of this caliber. So I appreciate all the work that you do. And yeah, we'll have to get a part two in here and keep it going.
Keep the momentum rolling, brother.
Sir,
Appreciate it. Brady,
awesome.
you're the man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Peace. Thank you.